Asim Shelcha, Hajka Gonzana Teacher Lakongan Tanith, Swalak Dennis Nature Slays and Lakongan Ia Houset, Iconis Kunanga Hela, Helix and Quinzanayathla. So I've just introduced myself. My name is Diane Sam, and my Indian name is Swalak, and I'm from Ahousaht and Lakongan. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the elders that we have here. Anna and Gloria, I saw somewhere, and Nella as well. I'd like to acknowledge our elders here in the room today. Thank you.
Gwe Nina Migimiwa Jack Talosi Sarah, Gwe Gispe Wage, Gwe Manawaki, Kitaganzibi, Anishinaabe Kwe. So my name is Sarah Rude, and I'm a new Mi'kmaq woman. I've been a visitor in beautiful Lekwungen territories for about 20 years now. And I'm the District Aboriginal Art and Culture Facilitator for School District 61. And I do want to tell you just a short, as brief as I can do, I have a tendency to talk, story about how we've got the Harvest for Knowledge project going, because I think it speaks to the fact that these things are accessible and that people can do it.
So Sarah Root approached me and said, we have this opportunity. There's this group called Harvest for Knowledge that's helping us put together this money for people to put in camas gardens in their school. So I got really excited.
The journey of Harvest for Knowledge started, would you say, when I was teaching the class? Yeah, so when I was teaching a class at Vic High, it was an Aboriginal Art and Culture class. Nella actually had 3 of the Aboriginal teachers in the school district go to a course that was being offered at Camosun just to see how it was. It was about cultural safety. And in that course, the thing that I took away from it the most was John Elliott was speaking, and what he said was, as visitors to this territory, one of the ways that you can really honor the land is to develop a relationship with the land, the plants, the animals, the water, the trees, and to learn the language of the land. And so I really took that to heart, and we took it to heart in our class, in our school, and we decided to make a garden so that we could have those plants. Especially those of you who are teachers, you know sometimes it's hard to get out on the land with classes in a semester-based system where you have an hour. So how can we make it accessible that students can learn about these beautiful plants, plant relatives that live in this territory, so that when they're out in the world, they appreciate them, want to take care of them, steward them, learn about them, develop a relationship with them.
I learned, I've been looking out for a few of the plants that we have, like miner's lettuce and the camas flower and the shooting star. We have quite a bit of them at my house, so after I've been a part of the Camas Meadow, I've realized how much of the different species I've had that I didn't actually realize before.
I didn't eat miner's lettuce before because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was something poisonous, so I didn't touch it. And then when I learned about it, I'm like, oh. So then I'm eating. And I had some when we were doing the garden.
And learn the proper true names of the plants and the language that they understand. So that's where this garden project stemmed from. And so at Vic High, we got a small farm to school grant to start our project, and we made 2 medicine wheel gardens. So one was an indigenous plant garden, and one was a sacred medicine garden. So the only introduced plants that we brought here were sacred plants, sage, white sage, sagebrush, tobacco, and sweetgrass. And then other than that, it was an all indigenous plant garden. And then through community connections, the beautiful people that are in this room, Krista Miskelly from Sanish Native Plants came and started to work with us. She's been invaluable in this process. And then the idea came that we needed to get a camas meadow going. And Erin, who worked for Farm to School, said, you guys need a grant. And I don't even know how that came about, but somehow Erin got us a whole bunch of money, which was beautiful. In conjunction together we worked, and the Horner Foundation supported this whole project. So I really want to raise my hands and say Haichka Siem to the Horner Foundation. In my language I say Wilalio, so thank you very much. And so then from there it was the project, we wanted to do more, and so we went right to the nations. We went to Esquimalt and Songhees nations and said, is this something you want to do? Is this something you could see? Is this good? You know, we wanted to make sure that they were at the center and we weren't imposing it on.
We wanted to create these gardens, that was the whole team behind the project wanted to do these gardens in a good way. So we brought in elders Marianne Thomas and Elmer George to come and Marianne came and blessed the land. So we had a couple of classes out there that joined us for the blessing of the ground.
So we met with Butch and Cheryl Bryce and all of the teachers from the different schools that were interested, and that's where we started. And what they said was, if you're going to do this, the one thing they said, if you're going to do this garden, it would be good for you to grow camas, because then you can propagate it, because Camus's home has been encroached upon by many things, and so if we can propagate more camas, that would be a good thing.
Well, it all started with our land-based class and Sarah Rood. So she had shared with us the work that she's been doing at Vic High around the medicine wheel garden. So she gave us some lesson plans to kind of just have students come up and create their own ideas for gardens, and then it just kind of evolved from there. So the garden at Vic High is amazing, and it has grown tremendously, and so Sarah had also inspired us to kind of go down that route as well, and so that's how we got to where we are a couple years later and have our own Indigenous garden now.
So that was our starting place. So we started with camas meadows, and you'll see a camas meadow today outside. There's a camas meadow at Shoreline, there's a camas meadow at Spectrum, Vic High, and I think that Colquitts is looking to do a camas meadow as well. And so that's where this sign comes from, this middle sign that you see right here. That's going to be the big signage that's going to be up there, because the other part of this project was that part of being able to learn the language and speak the language of the plants and animals. So that has been a long time in coming to get these signs going. We worked with Dr. and Elder Elmer George, and also Hereditary Chief Ed Thomas from the Esquimalt Nation, to get for them to share some words with us, the names of the plants, and record them, so that when you're in the garden, you can scan that QR code and hear the name of the plant in the garden. Which I think is important too, because we're oral tradition people, and that's how we pass on knowledge. So for you to hear it is important, to hear how it's said.
That you can actually lose small trees in a big camas field.
We get to plant different things in the camas garden, and the strawberries are my favorite.
Well, people at first didn't know there was a garden there, and I actually heard somebody ask, "This is a garden?" And I think it really impacted the school in a positive way.
Sometimes I'm out there and I'm watering the gardens, or student, we're all watering and weeding, and then people will stop by and they want to know what's happening, what's going on, and everybody's really positive about it. And that's staff and students.
Sorry. I liked helping because I felt like I was part of something, and my absolute favorite part of it was seeing it bloom and grow, and then getting to learn more about the different plants in there. So
I know I've watched the kids, the more they start to take care of the garden and actually interact with it and weed it and water it and just plant in it, you can see them starting to care about it, which is fantastic. I think they're really taking ownership of it. And then I think a lot of people just see it as a really beautiful area. It used to be a plot of grass with a bike rack in the middle. And I've had a number of people say, this is so much better, this is so beautiful. And even when they haven't learned a lot about it yet, they're still just really happy that there's this beautiful place with all of these awesome plants in there.
the last time we were up there, us three were the last ones up there, just sitting there and snacking on the miner's lettuce.
Now that with the camas meadow, I've learned how important some of the other plants were, almost as important as camas, and collectively as an ecosystem working together.
To watch all the plants grow, and to think that they helped the garden grow for future generations.
So every year we have a salmon barbecue, and so one of the visions that we have is creating a space where we can have a fire pit, and so we can do it yearly in our garden and bring everybody to the school and and from the community out to our garden space, and to kind of repurpose that area of the school and to have community also connect with it too. So it just provides like this multi-use area and this like really practical space that we have in the school, which ultimately will help us connect with our local nations and also the land itself and to each other as a school. Yeah.
Imagine the garden and future students engaging in the garden.
Yeah, I just hope that as we go, students will learn more about it and be able to interact with it, and teachers as well will start to, be more comfortable taking students out there and learning how to use it in their lessons and in their curriculum. And this is a good way to take things to pick the plants, like the whole process around that. And then, then be able to turn those plants into teas or into solves or into, different things as well. I think that's going to be really, really cool. So I foresee just this being a really part of Spectrum, part of Spectrum's, I think, identity and connection to the community and the land and the people that are here. I see that as being a really instrumental piece of that.
So to get the award, I was quite surprised and honored because for me, I feel that it is what I need to do as a visitor to this land, is to work on projects and support initiatives that are Indigenous led and that are bringing back and sort of this resurgence of the culture and the strength and the sort of, I want to say, I don't even think it's a word, plurality, but where, multiple languages, multiple cultures, multiple ecosystems. So I was very honored and surprised. Cool.
Feel free to walk around. Yeah. We're at the right side.
So let's show me the way.
You gotta focus on one of them.
Okay.
So this is the year. I think it's the winter, spring, summer, fall, right?
I don't think so.
See, even this grass is a native grass.
Yeah, that's native grass.
Abby, do you want to tell us what you did out in the garden?
I planted some camas and some sweet grass, and I tried to look for the oak this spring, which ended up being lost.
Thanks, everyone.
Congrats, you guys.
Yeah, it's nice getting out.